Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our dearly departed Premier League review of round number 22. As ever, looking at the results from our dearly departed teams, the ones I covered in the Championship. We're talking Villa, Sheffield United, Leeds, West Brom and Fulham. And don't stop watching now. It wasn't a good midweek for the dearly departed. In fact, given some of the other results, it couldn't have been much worse. But I still want to know your reaction and your comments on some pretty decisive results, including, like I say, ones for the teams challenging against the dearly departed, just above that bottom three line. We're going to get into each of the four games, only four today, because of a dearly departed derby between Sheffield United and West Brom. So if you do want some good news, we've got one winner. I'll try and do the chapter thing. So click across to that one, yeah? Before we go any further, sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. Before we go any further, let's say thank you to Coyle, who's our fan sponsor, dearly departed, also known as Ben. Couldn't bear to lose as Jay has got involved over on Patreon. You too can do the same, building the content up over there. Here are the damning round 22 results. It was Sheffield United 2, West Brom 1. Good news for the Blades, not so much for West Brom. Then we've got 4 we're not interested in. Wolves 2, Arsenal 1. Manchester United 9. Southampton 0. Free the Ipswich 9, I hear you say. Newcastle 1. Crystal Palace 2. Maybe one small bit of good news for the chasing pack there. Newcastle losing. Burnley 0. Manchester City 2. And then last night's games involving the dearly departed. Fulham 0. Leicester 2. Leeds 1. Everton 2. Aston Villa 1. West Ham 3. 3 home defeats in one evening for the dearly departed. And West Ham, the absolute scourge of the dearly departed. I think that's the 6th victory now for West Ham. Wow. Liverpool 0, Brighton 1, which may interest you fans of teams at the top of the table. But for us down the bottom, a Brighton win, not a good thing, let's just say. Tottenham and Chelsea play tonight. As ever, we are going to go from the top down. So if you do want some good news, head over to the Sheffield United game at the end of the video. That'll be the last one. But first of all, we have got to talk Aston Villa. And it was Aston Villa 1, West Ham 3. As I've said before, West Ham this season, I mean, we've got to give them credit, haven't we? They're good. And they are absolute kryptonite for the dearly departed. Our teams just cannot seem to deal with this mixture of a strong defensive shape, some physicality in the middle, and a bit of pace and trickery, and an ability to play on transition very, very well. And I have to say, David Moyes perhaps showing why he did indeed get the Manchester United job. A really good job with West Ham he's doing this season. Anyway, our Aston Villa team is strong. Martinez, Cash Cons and Mings targets, standard. Louise McGinn, standard. Grealish, Barkley, El Ghazi starts. That had been Bertrand Traore. Remember, El Ghazi did have a bit of a purple patch where he was scoring, but Traore, I think, has been, worthy of having that shirt front right. Ollie Watkins up the top. So, arguably the strongest side. You can see Traore on the bench, so Dean Smith's obviously got some kind of idea, maybe rested him, or maybe he needs El Ghazi's particular skill set for this particular game or opponent. Who knows? For West Ham, Fabianski, Kufal against Grealish, Dawson, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Souček and Rice. Souček, what is he on this season, for goodness sake? Fredericks, who's a right back, playing fairly well advanced there. Lingard, Benrahma, Antonio, just so much championship links in there in terms of Antonio and Benrahma. Fredericks at Fulham, Cresswell obviously at my team, Ipswich, Dawson even in the Championship. I think at the start of the season, wasn't he? Was he at Watford? They haven't had him long anyway. Let's have a look at the goals. Before we do that, look how close Ollie Watkins came. Fabianski's not getting that, is he? Curler with the right foot, you can see shaped in, which just clips the outside of the post. Watkins at 0-0. But then, here come West Ham. And anyone who's watched the channel knows I'm a fan of Saeed Benrahma. So it is with some pride, even though it probably doesn't help our dearly departed, that I'll give him a big shout out for a great assist. And we should point out Dean Smith has worked with Saeed Benrahma. And I'm sure if money were in more plentiful supply, would have maybe liked him in those front positions with Aston Villa. He's playing Mr. Grealish in the front left position, but I'm sure he could have accommodated both somehow. Great pass by Benrahma. Look, you can see Souček on the run. Benrahma's going to find the gap. Mings is occupied at that point by Antonio. Souček in between Target and Mings. Through it goes. Mings gets close, but the form Souček's in is brilliant from central midfield. He's getting forward while Declan Rice can sit. Right-footed, low, into the good finish. Under some pressure from Tyrone Mings. 1-0 West Ham. Tip of the cap to Benrahma and Souček there. And if you're looking for me to have a pop at the Villa defending there, sometimes you have to say quick, good assist, good finish. As much pressure as they could have put on him. Good execution from West Ham, perhaps. Here is the second. And again, I just want to talk about West Ham on transition. That's Declan Rice clearing the lines there. How many Villa players can we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8 Villa players advanced. 3 behind the ball. And West Ham are going to make this count. Because by the time it's carried by Benrahma and then Antonio, they do have plenty back. But look at the way they're all facing. And you'll see the situation there is everybody chasing back. That's Lingard with the left foot across Martinez. Could Martinez do better? It kind of goes underneath him. And then you can see John McGinn heading back there. As Martinez gets the touch on it, it kind of then loops over McGinn. So, but this all comes from when you're caught in that transition. Everybody sprinting back towards their own goal. 2-0. West Ham, Lingard, the scorer. Look at this from Grealish, just brilliant. The game, the ball rather, I was going to say the game stops, but Grealish is kind of static on the ball there. He's not going to run at, is that Kufel there? I assume it is. But what a pass that is with the right foot, just to slide it in behind. Look where it's going to end up. Brilliant from Grealish. Watkins puts that one home, and just worth flagging up that in 18-19, those two guys, Benrahma and Grealish, both playing their trade in the Championship where we covered them before, both starring in the Premier League. Now Watkins finishes off 2-1. However, West Ham picked them off immediately for 3-1. And it's Lingard again shooting right-footed into that far corner. Just seems all of West Ham's goals involve nice finishes across the keeper on transition with all the Villa players sprinting back. And that's how they're doing it under Moyes. And aren't they doing it very, very well? So 3-1 to West Ham is the final score. There's the numbers. And look at that. 20 shots for West Ham, 10 on target, 2 big chances to 1. So despite the 7 corners and the 56%, which would imply territory maybe went Aston Villa's way, this West Ham team is set up to absorb and play the 2 penalty boxes well, if they let you in the penalty box. And they've done it again, haven't they? West Ham's 11th win of the season. They've won half of their games. They've won 4 of the last 5. And I'm pretty certain in saying that's their 6th win against the dearly departed. A potential clean sweep of 10 games would be, wow. Please, let's stop that. I don't think anyone's taken a point against West Ham. I'll double check that one. They're in the top 5. Anyway, we want to talk Aston Villa. Bit spotty, isn't it? Lose, win, lose, win, lose. I think there is still some kind of false position narrative in terms of the 2 games in hand. It feels like Villa have just had games in hand. Well, they have. Literally, they've had games in hand since the start of the season because of Manchester City. I'm still very hopeful of that top half finish for Villa. Everything seems to be set up for that, but it just seems to be that this season and where West Ham are now, our dearly departed teams just aren't touching them, sadly. And particularly in terms of Leeds and Villa, who are wanting to get into that mid-table and then become a competitive sort of non-elite team in the Premier League, it's where Villa and the likes of Leeds want to go. So you have to kind of, rather than looking at West Ham and thinking, God, will they stop beating the dearly departed? Maybe if we flip that slightly, look at West Ham and say, well, that's where you want to be. So big picture, not too bad in terms of Villa, but disappointing, obviously. And we will see how they come back from this. Let me know your feelings in the comments from a Villa point of view. It was Aston Villa 1, West Ham 3. And here comes another home defeat. Ouch. Leeds 1, Everton 2. Disappointing again, especially when I show you the 2 goals that Leeds conceded in this one. Leeds off the back of a really good win at Leicester, and some sense that 10-day gap after sort of losing to Crawley in the FA Cup and then losing to Brighton had really helped, and they'd come back with a couple of good wins over Newcastle and over Leicester, like I mentioned, away from home. And it's that away record that's really holding Leeds' position in the league, isn't it? And it's a home defeat here against Everton, who they did beat. Goodison, didn't they? Rafinha with his first goal there. Speaking of Rafinha, he manages to get on the pitch here. Rodrigo doesn't, which means just the one change for Leeds. Matt Click in central midfield for Rodrigo. So Leeds fans, you can't wave the championship flag on this one with Rafinha in there in the starting 11. Remember, the team that finished the game against Leicester were all featured in the championship last season. Meslier in goal. Excuse me. Ailing, Struijk, Cooper, Alioski. So still no Koch. Llorente's return was short-lived at Newcastle. And still Stuart Dallas in central midfield and Alioski at left-back. Phillips is the deep-line playmaker with Dallas and Click ahead of him. Harrison left, Rafinha right. Pat Bamford in fabulous form in the game against Leicester up top. There is your Everton team. Olsen in goal. He's going to have a good game. Holgate, Mina, Godfrey, Digne, Decore, Gomez, double pivot. Iwobi, Sigurdsson at 10. Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin up top. Here are the goals. This is so disappointing. So disappointing. There is Digne. Leeds are narrow, but Rafinha is back on the cover. And you tell me, how many of you Leeds fans, if you were sat in that stand, what is that, the John Charles stand, the old main stand there opposite the huge one at Leeds? How many of you would have been yelling, stop the cross, don't let him cross it? You know, that it's that simple, this 1v1 here. And we really like Rafinha. He's been great. He's been a good sign and he's going to score in this game. But he lets Digne, I know Digne's a good attacking sort of left-sided fullback, wing-back, whatever you want to trade fullback in this game, I guess. He's got to stop the cross there, Rafinha, or at least have more pressure on him because Digne is able to just lay this in behind everybody into the space. I have to say, it's quite a bad goal, isn't it? When you see there's Sigurdsson making the run from number 10. Calvert-Lewin's not even in there. You've got Struijk back. You've got Ailing narrow. Cooper's there. Phillips, the last midfielder, is there. I cannot fathom, this is so disappointing from Leeds, Bielsa will be furious this, how that cross has been allowed to A, be so easily laid into the middle, and then B, who's not tracking Sigurdsson? If once that cross then is allowed to come in, especially given they're narrow and Ailing's actually inside, surely there's enough people to be able to communicate and stop Sigurdsson, but he sticks it in the net. It's a really disappointing goal. Leeds have been great this season, but if you play back some of their goals, some of them do look elementary, and it's not really like they've been caught badly on transition here. I think it was just one ball down the line, and it's a disappointing one for Leeds. I'm not piling in. Love covering Leeds, but you let me know in the comments. Poor, isn't it? Really annoyed at that one, personally. Unlucky Alioski with the old Paul Scholes corner there. Can you see him in the picture there? Just right at the right-hand side, Alioski 10. Great effort on the volley direct from the corner. Remember Paul Scholes doing that against Bradford? I think hits the post. And that's very unlucky for Olsen. Plays a good game in goal for Leeds there at 0-0. And again, just maddening, isn't it? It's another set play, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin has had a great season, and it's just so straightforward, isn't it? I don't really know what to say. We've looked at these a lot. We've mentioned maybe the absence of Koch or whoever, but Struijk and Cooper are fine in the air, aren't they? Cooper's very good in the air, actually. And it's just the corner comes in. Godfrey near post with Cooper again, flicked over to the back post, and it's almost like if that chance comes, Leeds concede from them, don't they, at the set plays? And there's Calvert-Lewin on the back post. And given Leeds beat Everton earlier in the season, it's just disappointing because you know with Leeds, in a 50-50 in-play game, forget set plays, etc., Leeds match most teams in the division, don't they? And just two annoying goals. You can see I'm a bit browned off about these ones. Let me know if you think I'm being unduly unfair, but come on, it's at home and it's a two-goal start for Everton at half-time, and I'm sure Bielsa and you Leeds fans with the set play issues will not be pleased with that one. They do get a goal back, Leeds. Poor from Holgate, I think, but Bamford and Raphinha do well. Bamford manages to get on the other, on the end of the mistake, essentially. Nice layoff, and I criticised Raphinha for stopping the cross. Here's his quality. And he scored a lovely goal like this against Newcastle, where he just, with the left foot, just shapes it into the far corner. Really impressive signing, Raphinha. I'm still annoyed at him for not stopping that cross, but lovely finish. And they get it back to 2-1 fairly early in the half, if memory serves. I was covering about 5 games last night, so apologies if that's not correct. Here's a decent save. If I can explain this, I think it's Click who's had the shot 43 on the edge of the box, and Bamford redirects that. Click's shot is going to the right-hand side of the goal as Click looks, and then Bamford diverts it the other way. Good save. But I'm just not seeing in this game. We talked about Alioski from a corner. We talked about Raphinha's goal from maybe Holgate. Can he get that one clear? And then this one is a shot from the edge of the box diverted. Everton must have contained Leeds, because we normally see them create at least a couple of chances where they've got the opponents on the run and there's a low cross slid in or a cutback or something of those nature. And I'm just not seeing it in these highlights that I watched there. Big chance at the end on the counter-attack for Calvert-Lewin. He's got to score that. Good save by Meslier with the feet, I think with the left foot there. Two things can be true. He has to score, but it is a good save when he doesn't. And there you have it. Disappointing, especially given the nature of those couple of goals. And I mean, I know ifs, buts and maybes, but stop the cross, defend the corner. Was there that much else in it? Okay, there's the big chance for Calvert-Lewin at the end, but look at the game state. That's Leeds chasing a deficit. It feels like preventable, that they could have got a draw out of this or better. Let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, 37% on the possession, 16 shots to 10 in Leeds' favour, 7 corners to 1. One big chance for Leeds, and the 3 big chances for Everton are the 2 goals and the Calvert-Lewin one. So let me know if you think I'm being unfair. This does feel not like Leeds took a battering or were they very patronisingly get called naive Leeds. I think that's unfair personally, but it feels like they could have got something from this one. It's a 1-goal defeat with 2 pretty irritating goals. I'll say no more. As you can see, I'm cheesed off with this one. Everton move up to 6th. Yes, I mean, we can all say, look, it's Everton. They've been in the Premier League ages, blah, blah, blah. They've spent loads more money. Fine, whatever. Put it 11 against 11. Forget all of those mitigating factors because they weren't the reason, were they? It was stop the cross, track the runner, defend the corner, mark the big England striker a few yards from goal. It doesn't feel like the reason that Leeds didn't get anything out of this game was that Everton are an established Premier League side who've spent tens and tens of millions. I don't think that's intellectually honest. I don't think that's the debate we need to have here. And yes, big picture, it is, of course, relevant, but I just feel a bit annoyed about this one. Leeds still in 11th. Back-to-back wins have been good. Big picture, it's all very good for Leeds. And maybe when we continue doing Dearly Departed, maybe next season, the season after, maybe they do draw or win these games as more and more quality comes in and more experience comes in. So maybe my expectations are too high. I don't know, but Bielsa has set them so high. And again, just the 2 goals have bothered me, as you can see. I'm sure Ancelotti will be pleased to get out with the 3 points the way that they've won them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I overplaying this or am I right? Let me know what you think. But an irritating home loss. Leeds 1, Everton 2. From one irritating home loss to another irritating home loss. Fulham 0, Leicester 2. I'm getting more annoyed as I go through this broadcast. Only because I want the Dearly Departed to put up a better fight than they did this mid-week. So, Fulham, this was my worry. For the last weeks and weeks and weeks, this was my worry. That the improvement, the draws, was going to turn into a long, winless run. And I hate the fact I've been right about this. I really, really do. Because we saw it coming. We've been talking about it on the channel forever and a day, haven't we? So frustrating, and it's a long winless run for Fulham. I don't exactly know how many games it is winless, but it feels like, is it over 10? Feels like a long time. Was the last win maybe even against Leicester away? Because I think they've only won a couple of games this season. Anyway, here's your Fulham team. The team that has been developed and is sadly not winning games. Areola in goal. Iain, Anderson, and Rabiot. Robinson, Tete, Reed and Gisa, Lookman, Loftus-Cheek, Mitrovic now sort of back in favour up top over Cavaliero. I like it. I like the principle of everything he's done, but it doesn't matter if I like it or it makes sense if they're not winning, does it? Maybe it'll come. He stuck to his guns last season in the Championship, Parker, and it did in the end work, you have to say, because they got up in very sort of binary terms there. Leicester, who we did cover at the weekend, losing to Leeds, didn't we? Schmeichel, Pereira, Evans, Soyuncu, Justin, Tielemans, Chowdhury. So he's putting in a few players that I haven't covered too much this season. Chowdhury and Pereira, particularly there. Soyuncu returning recently, I think. Perez, Maddison, Barnes, Iheanacho, and that's the difficult thing when you are a new Premier League team and Leicester an established one. Again, Barnes probably going to be an England player. Maddison is in rare old form, isn't he? Perez, 30 million. Iheanacho, I'm sure, was a big signing as well. It's tough. It's tough, isn't it? Here are the goals, and I said Maddison is in rare old form. There he is, down the right-hand side. Is it good execution? Is it bad defending? Is it a bit of both? Maddison's going to swing that in right-footed. Have a look at 14, Iheanacho, because he's going to get in between, who is that there? Iain and Anderson. Yes, it's a lovely cross, and then it's a free header, 8 yards out? And Fulham are a goal behind. Here's a chance. That's Adrabio, isn't it? A chance at 1-0 down. I think Schmeichel tips that one over the crossbar. But again, we're talking set plays rather than big open play chances. And again, it's that guy, Mattheson. He's in brilliant form. He's going to send both Anderson and Robinson there for a bit of a walk, because he's going to turn brilliantly on the edge of the box and slip that into Justin. Touch. There you go. Now look at Anderson and Robinson done out of the game by Mattheson's excellence. Justin, attacking fullback of some note this season, arriving. Look how high up he is, round the keeper into the net. 2-0 before half time. Ouch. Good effort there by Cavaliero. Comes on in the second half. You can see 17. If he puts that inside the post, Schmeichel's not getting that, is he? But no goal for Fulham in this one. There are the numbers. And kind of, if you told me that Leicester were 2 up at half time, I would have predicted, okay, so the game will end with Fulham having more possession, but probably roughly the same amount of shots. Leicester having a couple of big chances. Just sit in and absorb the second half. Easy peasy. And it appears that was the case. So 57 on the possession for Fulham. 9 shots to 8 Leicester. 5 shots on target to 1 is revealing. 5 corners to 2 shows some territory in Fulham's favour. 2 big chances to 1. And they were both taken. So you have to tip your cap and say that Leicester forced the 2 big chances in the first half, scored both of them, maintained the clean sheet and took the 3 points. That, to me, sounds like an efficient football team. And I hate to say, if you look at the league table, Fulham just sadly they're off it now, aren't they? 21 games gone. We've had the team develop and trend sort of slightly upwards, but they've just not won any games, have they? And that Leicester win must have been the last one, because I know the other win was at home to West Brom, wasn't it? And that feels like an age ago, and they're on 14 points. And given Brighton have scored 10 points in 4, Burnley have scored 6 points, back-to-back wins a couple of games ago and been in better form. Newcastle obviously sliding down, but did also have that win. Who did Newcastle beat recently? I don't remember. 8-point gap now. An 8-point gap. Yes, there is one game in hand, but Fulham are operating at a level, 14 points in 21. That sounds quite easy to work out. That sounds like 2 points every 3 games. So 0.66. So a game in hand is worth less than a point to Fulham on the evidence of this season. It's very worrying. We're just at the start of February. I don't want to throw the towel in for the dearly departed. I really don't. But look at that gap. Look at that gap. It is bad. Very, very bad. And Fulham are 8 points off Burnley and Newcastle. And you start to look at it now, if you're Burnley and Newcastle and Brighton, and think, how bad do we have to be now to actually get relegated? It's now at the point where it would take a horrific, check me grammar, I know people like to do that on in Pedant's Corner in the comments, but it would just take an awful run for one of those teams to go down, or conversely, a run from one of the teams down the bottom there at, 1.8, 1.9, even 2 points per game for 10 games in a row. The evidence is stacking up to say that is not going to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments. But it's been a bad midweek. We'll get positive in a minute, I promise. A bad midweek for the dearly departed. And it was Fulham 0, Leicester 2. Here we go. A win. Sheffield United 2, West Brom 1. It's great for Sheffield United. They are now not languishing way bottom. They are now not probably going to be the worst team in Premier League history. They have now put themselves in a position where the first thing I said they needed to do is get some results and challenge to be off the bottom. They've done that, and they've beaten their nearest rival in West Brom. However, big picture for the dearly departed, this result has necessitated that 8-point gap, hasn't it? Because you've got, Sheffield United have closed up, but the tide hasn't actually risen. And with the recent Brighton run and the Burnley run before that, it's now gone into an 8-point gap. So that's the big picture. But for Sheffield United, let's enjoy a third win in 5 games. 9 points from 5 games. And given the paucity of wins at the bottom, I know West Brom and Fulham are kind of above Sheffield United on the basis of draws. But this is a run, the like of which we have not seen by any of our dearly departed bottom 3 teams. So let's try and enjoy it and let's be positive about it. Ramsdale in goal for Blades. Basham, Egan, Ampadu. Is that now? Have we now found the replacement for Jack O'Connell until he's back from injuries? Ampadu, left centre-back. He's been there, I think, when they've got the results. So Bogle, left wing-back, and he's going to score as well. Wow. Bulldog, right wing-back. When does Bulldog go off? 44. So they are going to end up with both the Derby signing wing-backs on for the second half, when the game did indeed turn around there. No Stevens and Bulldog for the second half, for sure. McGoldrick and Sharp up top with Fleck, Norwood and Lundstrom in central midfield. On the bench, McBurney, Brewster. Still, though, the big misses. O'Connell at left centre-back and Berger in central midfield. For West Brom, Johnston in goal. O'Shea, Ajayi, Bartley, Townsend is the back 4. Phillips, Livermore, Snodgrass. Starting to look very experienced now, isn't it? Like a Big Sam team, those 3. And Robinson, Pereira and Diagni. Still haven't got the pronunciation on that one. If anyone wants to comment me and spell it phonetically, then do let me know. Now, I would actually have to say that Big Sam got it right in the first half here. He sat back, absorbed, played on transition, went in 1-0 up, and there was this other chance as well. So if I'm Allardyce, I'm saying, well, for the first half, the plan worked. Obviously, a football match lasts for 90 minutes, and therein lies your issue. But yeah, that's Callum Robinson on transition, driving into the box, just across Ramsdale. Look at Ramsdale, he looks beaten there, doesn't he, if that is inside the post? It wasn't. Here comes the goal, and it's a classic example. We talked about this in the Villa West Ham game of how Allardyce wants to play this. You can see his back 4 there, but you can then see as the ball's turned over, get on the run, get on your bike, stretch them, really attack in these transition moments. You can see the Blades back 3, but if all of those players get narrow and the balls move quickly, you do have some 1v1s emerging. That was the case. Out it goes to Robinson. You can see then the box scene now from around the ball is 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 5. So they've got plenty forward in terms of outfielders there. The shot is parried by Ramsdale. I think then there's another effort that's kind of half blocked, which takes Ampadu out of the game on the line. Phillips puts it in. And I mean, I know Blades fans will say, oh, bad goal. We were caught up the pitch. But Sam Allardyce will say that was the plan. That was exactly what we wanted to do. Catch you up the pitch, snap, break, commit. Try and take the chances. And it worked. 1-0 to West Brom. Into the second half, as I mentioned, wing-backs now Bogle and Lowe. And give Blades some credit, because this is kind of old school Chris Wilder, this. Because if you freeze the picture like we have, centre half, Chris Basham in the box, albeit plenty of players back. McBurney's on as well by this point. Look at the one wing back there, Bogle, on the right side of the 6-yard box. The other wing back, Lowe, you can see at the back post. It looks like an old school Chris Wilder picture. Obviously, it's come from a throw-in rather than an overload. But still, they're going at West Brom. There's 2 wing-backs and a centre-half nearly in the 6-yard box, virtually. And attack. And when you do that, there is Bogle. And just everyone's got suckered in on Basham was doing what Basham does, where it kind of looks unorthodox and he's dribbling in. But look how he's suckered all the defenders in. And what that means is that if Bogle can just find that corner to Johnston's left, given the proximity to the goal and the bodies in the way, he's not saving it. And Bogle really does, in fantastic fashion, just whip that in towards the side netting for 1-1. And Jayden Bogle's been a good signing, hasn't he? There's a couple of goals he scored as well in the Premier League. And look, if the odds are Sheffield United at bottom, not in a good position, that he will be playing in the Championship next season. But if you're talking about building and bouncing back, it's a perfectly overly serviceable Championship right back for sure, who's doing good things at Premier League level. 1-1. Chance. Wow. Crossed in from the right side again. This is at 1-1, obviously. Callum Robinson, just outside the 6-yard box. And this is a great moment because, it's not a great moment if you're a West Brom fan, but Aaron Ramsdale has had so much criticism. No, he's not Dean Henderson. He's not. And Dean Henderson was brilliant for Sheffield United for 2 seasons on loan, getting them promoted up from the Championship and then finishing 9th in the Premier League. Ramsdale's come in. The team's been losing. He's not covered himself in glory. There have been some goals where you've looked at it, but it's been a bit of a perfect storm in the worst way for Ramsdale to come into, with the team having this drop off a cliff from 9th down to never winning a game. And this is a nice moment for him, even if it's as good as it gets for him this season, at 1-1 in a game where your team's now starting to become competitive again, pulling off that save, and he really gave it the big fist bump afterwards. I just think, hopefully we're all good people watching this, and it's nice to see somebody who's had a bit of a bad time do something good, have a decisive moment, because we know there's a winning goal coming up the other end. So, tip of the cap there to Ramsdale for that save. In terms of Robinson, yes, can he find the corner? He's definitely going to score. But the cross is fired in. Just get a good contact, and he does. And it's very good goalkeeping by Aaron Ramsdale. Here, the offside flag didn't go up, did it? I don't recall, but it was a great save anyway. Let's let him have his moment. And here is the winning goal. And I don't know about you, I find great delight in Billy Sharp. There's something artistic about this guy and how he has this very niche set of skills that's made him a brilliant goal scorer over the years. And this is just classic Billy Sharp. Is he the best in the air? No. Is he the fastest? No. Has he got the hardest shot? No. I remember someone talking to me about John Aldridge. It seemed like his only skill was goal scoring, and Sharp has just got this down to an absolutely fine art. Maybe all of those things have led to, it's kind of survival mechanism. If I'm not the quickest, the biggest, the fastest with the hardest shot or the 2 best feet or the most skillful, then my movement and my ability to finish chances needs to carry me through my career, and it has. And here it is again. And it's barely a chance, is it? The ball breaks in the box. He's got a millisecond to hit it, but I don't know what it is with this type of striker. They process the angle. Can they forecast where the ball's going? Is that the skill they've got? He just seems to have had it all his career, Billy Sharp. Obviously, if he'd had all the things I mentioned, the pace, the strength, the aerial ability, all a bit extra, well, he would have played at the top level all his career, wouldn't he? But he's been a brilliant player, and he just eats up opportunities like that. And that sort of player does win you games. And he manages to react so quickly outside of the right foot, just slot it in the corner. And I know some people get, just scores muggy goals, doesn't he? They always seem to be this type of goal. It's not a fluke. It's just not I remember someone trying to argue to me once that Frank Lampard was a lucky player and that he scored deflected goals. And I'm like, really? 180, 200 times? Not having it. Same with Billy Sharp. I remember seeing Billy Sharp score a hat-trick at Aston Villa in that crazy game that ended 3-3. All from about 1 yard out, all 3 of the goals. And there was just a weird artistry to the hat-trick. And again, it may not look pretty, but he's made a hell of a lot of money and a hell of a career out of doing it. And what is he, 33, 34, 35? I don't know his age. Still doing it in the Premier League, scoring a winning goal. Boom. Well done, Billy Sharp. 2-1, Sheffield United. And they get the win. But look at the big chance count. Wow. there is a caveat to that in that when West Brom scored, I think possibly all 3 of the big chances, the 2 gone down as missed. Yeah. So I think possibly the first one was blocked. Was there 2 blocks before the finish? Possibly all 3 big chances are actually part of the goal. So there is a caveat to that. But otherwise, 68% possession, 14 shots to 8, 6 shots to 4 on target, 9 corners to 2. As we'd imagine in this game, possession would have been Blades, but an Allardyce team will still have it close in the penalty boxes, won't they, just because of the way they're set up. But Sheffield United get the win. Not great for West Brom, because we mentioned Fulham being 8 points adrift. West Brom are 10 points adrift of safety with 16 games to go. They essentially need to have a run. Look at Brighton in 15th. West Brom need to have a run now of 10 points in 4 games or something of that nature, because then they would be at 26 games with 22 points. And there'd be some chance they could hit a 38 with the remaining games. But basically with West Brom now, unless we do get that kind of 2 wins in 3, 3 wins in 4, they're going to go down. And that's not... I got called disrespectful on YouTube yesterday by some butthurt Sheffield Wednesday fan who called me disrespectful for saying that Bournemouth would have been favourites to beat Sheffield Wednesday when one's 6th in the league and one's 23rd. So don't take it the wrong way by me saying that unless they do that, they're going to go down, West Brom fans, because I'm just trying to call it as I think is realistic. And I think the evidence suggests that unless we see that kind of winning run, and there's not much evidence of that happening with 2 wins in 22, they are going to go down, which is bad news for West Brom fans. And I don't get any satisfaction with my dearly bonds. Many dearly departed teams as possible, for goodness sake. Sheffield United, now this is a very weird thing to say. There is more evidence that Sheffield United will stay up than of West Brom or Fulham. Now, what I mean by that is that if we take this recent run of 3 wins in 5 games, that is far more viable than we've seen from any of the bottom 3. We've seen something similar now from Brighton and from Burnley. Not from Newcastle, I don't think. Have we seen that across the season? I know they've accumulated points. Don't know if they've had a little splurge like that. But if the Blades can pull out another 9 points in the next 5 games, they would be at 20 points in 27. And then the question is, can you then, so 20 points in 27, can you then have a mad run at the end of the season? Again, I will say it's step by step for Sheffield United, isn't it? It's a case of, could you get competitive? Yes, 11 points. What was it? Derby with 11 points? That was the first thing. And they're 1 point off West Brom now, and they've beaten the nearest rivals. The next thing is, can you get off the bottom? Then can you get to 22nd? And okay, there is a scenario that Sheffield United could get to 22nd and still be miles behind. But that's the goals. Get competitive. Stop losing every week, for goodness sake. And they've done it, haven't they? They've done the first step. What happens next? Who knows? But we have to be positive from where we were with 18 games and no wins. Was it something like that? Something crazy a few games ago to this. Well, we can work it out, actually. Yeah, so it was the 18th game, wasn't it, if we minus 4 games off that one. So, some positivity there on a bad week for the dearly departed. It was Sheffield United 2, West Brom 1. That's our show. Thank you again for J. Coyle, dearly departed, also known as Ben. Couldn't bear to lose us, our Patreon fan sponsor. Lots of good stuff going on Patreon. I'm about to do the Patreon Q&A, which is now going to become a weekly feature on the channel. We're going to try and build up the Patreon to give you as much value as we can. Thank you to all of those people who've already subscribed, like Jay. Brilliant stuff. Consider doing it. The lowest tier is like $3 a month. Every little helps as I try and build this up to make this a viable concern. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I appreciate all of your support. Sorry, it was a bit of a downer. Look, Leeds and Villa are going to be fine, and we can be positive. Just annoying 2 home defeats for them. Big worries now about Leicester and West Brom with that 8-point gap going in. Sheffield United, well, we can there's a trend upwards, so we can work on that. They're still bottom, but hey, it is what it is. We're doing teams that are in the Championship recently. This show is sadly always going to have that twist because it's so hard, so hard to make the step up. Right, all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in Dearly Departed mode. I haven't even got my whiteboard up there updated, so I guess we'll be back. It's Thursday today, Friday tomorrow with the preview. Get involved, hit subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Went over 14,000 subscribers. Bosh. Great news for the channel. So thank you everybody for that. And I will say over and out, and I will say hopefully we're going to have a happier Dearly Departed review next time out. Thank you for watching. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.